Alright, this video is for my man Andrew, who wanted to know more about how I was squatting every day, the exact protocol I used, how did I end up adding 35 pounds to my squat in 40 days. I'm gonna give you the whole rundown of my strategy, basically what I did. Alright, so the first 14 days or so was emphasizing technique, basically. There were a few things that I wanted to fix, notably my bracing pattern and my core position, the way my knees traveled, those kinds of things. So that was what I focused on working on in those days. So that included a number of tempo squats and just repetitions with lower weight, basically, just to kind of get the groove going. The exact strategy for doing this was basically, initially I was coming in and doing the 6 reps that I was doing later, just with pretty lightweight. Then I realized I could accomplish some of the things that I wanted to be accomplishing with some nice tempos. So I added those nice tempos. I replaced the reps with tempos. This literally brought the weight down to 185, 225 or so. And by the way, for context, this is my squat every day from 405 to 440, and then with a miss at 455 that I think maybe would have been there because 440 was smooth, but I had put kind of all my mental energy into executing on 440, so I had thought about that all day, and then once I hit it, I was kind of relaxed. I wasn't ready to move a heavier weight. So anyway, first week and a half, technique, execution is basically the gist of it. You can skip this kind of phase if you're already familiar with squatting, or you're already fresh, you've been squatting, you came out of a squat cycle, you did a powerlifting meet, your technique is fresh, things are feeling good. I hadn't been squatting for basically a whole year before this. I'd done some high volume squatting right before this for a couple weeks, but I really wanted to freshen up and make heavy weights feel good again. So that's why I included this kind of section. Then I moved into what actually built everything up, and it's a 6 rep phase basically. So every day I would come in, I would hit 6 reps with whatever weight that I was trying to move that day. I started at 295 because that's an easy weight for me to move. 295 is what, 75% of 405, 70% maybe. So I would say start around 70%. Start easier than you need to, and let your body get used to it, because you can jump directly into this phase. You can skip the technique phase, go directly into this. So I started with 295. That's a weight that's easy for me to move. I could already move it for 6 reps in one set, but that was my starting point because that felt like a good place to start. I wasn't going to shock the body. I wasn't going to do anything crazy that was going to jump myself from 0 to 100 and just totally wreck everything. So from there, once I could do all 6 reps in a single set, which usually took me a few days, then I would bump 10 pounds to the next weight. So once I did 295 for 6, I bumped to 305. It's 6 total reps, right? It's not 295 for 6, and then I go to 305 for 6 reps. I do 295 for 6, then the next session I go to 305. I usually will, or every single time, I broke it down into 2 triples in the first session with that weight. So I would do 305 for 2 sets of 3. Then I would come in the next day, 305 for a set of 4 and a set of 2. So what I'm trying to do is build out that first set until it's a set of 6. Right? So 305, set of 4, set of 2. Next day, come in, 305, set of 5, and then a single. 305, set of 6. It takes 4 days. For literally the majority of everything up until I got into like 345, 355. I was able to progress every single day. Either it would be an increase in reps on the first set, or it would be an increase, like a jump in weight from the previous day. Now, the way systematically this works, I mean, this is it. That's basically how I did the majority of the work. But the way this works is you're doing this thing every day. Eventually, you're gonna hit a wall. You're gonna slow down, and your body's gonna be used to it. Right, so I'm doing this 6 reps. It's very consistent. It's the same amount of work every single day, and I'm getting stronger. So it's not like these things are adapting. Like, yeah, I'm lifting heavier weights, but like my body is adapting to that thing that I'm doing, which is the 6 reps every day. So it's almost like I wake up, I do the 6 reps. My body's prepared. Like, okay, I got to be ready for 6 reps. I got to recover from that, and so it's ready to do that. So around, I think it's like the 20 something, maybe the 30-day mark, I was starting to slow down. Like right around 355, I was running out of gas to push much further than that. But on contrary to what you might think, my body was feeling great. So what does that tell me? That tells me, one, my body is consistently recovering from what I'm throwing at it on a day-to-day basis, and it's so used to recovering from that it doesn't need basically any extra effort to kind of systematically like keep that going forward. Like if you pay attention to the trend of how you feel, if you feel the same or better than you did 3 days ago and you're not able to progress, then it means you're not doing enough, because you're just not giving your body enough reason for it to recover and for it to grow and for you to get stronger. So basically at this point, since you're doing the same thing every day, you've adapted. So you need to increase the stimulus, and you need to make it harder for your body to adapt so that you can get a little better. Basically what I did was I added 2 reps. So I'm going from 6 reps every day to 8 reps every day. That doesn't sound like a big change, but that's, in the total scheme of a week, that's an extra 14 reps. In the scheme of a month or whatever, a couple weeks, every day, like that's 2 more reps every day. Like that's not 2 more reps that I'm adding in twice a week to get 4 more reps. The first rep was a rep with the same weight that I was going to do for the rest of the session. So it started like, I think 365 or 375 or so. I would hit the 365 single, and then that was like the weight that I would be doing for the 6 rep total thing that I've been doing the whole time. And then I would hit a heavier weight, I think 105% of whatever that weight was. So 365 times 1.05. I would hit that for another single. Not a crazy jump, just a 5% jump. And then I would do the session that I've been doing the entire time. So it's like 2 additional hard sets, kind of, because they're 2 additional singles that are at a non-trivial weight, especially the 105% single. What I noticed after this happened is immediately the next day, I only added 2 reps, mind you, like two reps. I had been feeling great up until this point. I added those 2 reps. The next day I felt pretty beat up, but I did it again anyways, and I made progress, as opposed to having not made progress for like a couple days, or having like just slowed down in general. So I felt more beat up, and then I came in, I did it again. The next day I actually felt beat up still, but less so than the previous day. Did it again, didn't feel beat up anymore. So my body took this new thing, is like, okay, I need to grow, I need to adapt to that, and I need to get stronger as a result. And then it got me stronger, and then it got used to that stimulus, those new 2 reps that I was adding. So basically what I've done is effectively increase the workload so that I can continue to make progress. So I've gone from the 6 reps, I added the 2. Now I'm doing 8 reps. I did that for, I think, about a week and a half. And then the opposite trend started to happen, where I was starting to feel more beat up and my progress was starting to slow down once again. So what does that tell me this time? Well, this time, because I'm feeling more beat up, that means I'm pushing it too hard. Like if my body is feeling worse on a day-to-day basis, that means I'm pushing it too hard. And if I stop progressing, that's just because I'm not able to recover from what I'm throwing at it, right? So at that point, I realized like I'm starting to burn out. I've already reached a very high level. I'm at 375 for reps at this point, and I'm squatting like 395 every day for a single. I cut out all the base level reps and just make it the single. This is what you call super compensation. When your body's used to a certain amount of stress and you cut out a lot of that stress, it over adapts to that change. And now, since it doesn't have to recover from that stress anymore, it's still used to shooting up past that. Like you've been repeatedly bashing it with all this stuff. It kind of overcompensates and recovers like even harder, and you get even stronger. So for the last week, I think I was only doing singles, and I was squatting 405 or more every single day. I even hit PRs during that period. I hit 425, and then essentially, like at that point, the heavy weights was starting to get to me. I was starting to feel pretty beat up, and it was less consistent. I wasn't progressing on a day-to-day basis. It was like just take what I have there on that day, because it's like a single now, and it's heavy and it's pretty taxing individually. So I did that for a little bit, and then I took 2 days where I just came in and squatted like 135 or so. And after that, I hit 440. That's it. That's the whole rundown of the program. So if you're going to do this yourself, basically what you can do is find a workload that's manageable. For me, it was the 6 reps with the 295. Progress within that workload. Try to increase your weight and build out the reps within that workload in a reasonable fashion. Like don't aggressively add weight like every single session. Just try to add a rep every session and build out to like you can fit the whole rep capacity. Like 6 reps was a good amount for me. I don't think much higher than that is like that tolerable for most people, at least initially. And then you'll notice at first you're beat up. Your body gets back to baseline, and then your progress starts to slow down. Don't add reps until your progress starts to slow down, because it's just not necessary. You're just going to be putting in more stress. Once your progress starts to slow down, you know that your body's gotten used to what you're doing. And then you add work, because your body has gotten used to what you're doing, so you need to add more work in order to make more progress on top of what you've already made. Pay attention to how you feel, not on an everyday basis. Like if you come in and feel beat up, like that's okay, but pay attention on how you feel as trends. Like over the course of the previous 3 days, do you feel worse? When you immediately add new work, do you feel worse? And then do you get used to that work? Like ask those kinds of questions. And then eventually, do you start to run out of gas and like you just feel worse every day you come in? That's a sign that you're wearing out. But if you add work, you feel bad, and then you start to feel better. That's just what's supposed to happen, right? So this is kind of how you can manage it. Once you slow down, add work. Get used to that level of work. Once you slow down, add work. Get used to that level of work. Once you slow down, add work. But with the caveat that if at any point you start to feel progressively worse, like I did toward the end, like you felt more and more beat up, maybe your legs were more and more sore, maybe your back was more and more sore, then you do the opposite. You drop the volume out. You just hit the singles, or you just hit whatever less amount of work you want to hit. Let your body recover, and then either start over and build it up, or say you're calling it quits for the squatting every day, and you want to move on to something else, which is what I did. So what I could have done instead was like just start again at like 335 for 6 reps or so, and just kind of like flush it out and build up again, see if I can get to a higher point, which I probably could have. But yeah, that's basically it.